Estás escuchando Radio Mamon.
So, Candice, how you doing? Welcome.
Good.
Thank you for being with us. This is going to be our first podcast in English, so have a little patience with us because we might be a little rusty when it comes to it. Yeah. So how you doing? I mean, how's everything in Mexico?
Life is good.
Life is good, right?
Yep.
So one thing that came to my mind is like, and probably a lot of people wonder, like, how is it that you thought about this, about sharing your journey with everybody?
Honestly, I had a niece. I went to visit the States, which I do about once a year with my boys, and came home. And of course, by the time I got home, 2 weeks into my trip up there is when everything in the States shut down because of COVID. And so I spent most of my trip in the States quarantined with my mother, which is not terrible, right? Because it's with my mom. But then when I came home, everything, of course, was closed here and we were quarantined. And my niece had said, "Hey, Thea, my niece in the States asked if I had ever heard of TikTok." And I was like, "That's for kids. TikTok's not for me." And so I got on and looked at it. And actually, I had it downloaded, but I never made an account. And then I deleted it. And then a week later, I was like, "Let me give this another try." So I reopened it. And I posted a video where essentially I just said, "Hey, my name's Candice. I'm from Utah. My husband was deported. Now I live in Mexico. Let me show you what my life is about." And the video blew up. It went essentially viral. And I had no idea. I mean, I always knew that there were more people in our situation, but I had no idea how many people it was going to connect me to. And so now I feel like I have an obligation to these families and honestly to Mexico to keep going because I've been told countless times, you're showing a part of Mexico that the news doesn't tell you in the States and I think a lot of people are surprised when they see my content and at least for me how normal my life is. I'm like, yeah, we just live a normal life here. I mean, we have a lot of animals, but we live a normal life.
Hey,
so
that's great.
How I got started. Yeah.
So you get a lot of people reaching out like, "Hey, I'm going through this right now" and stuff?
Yes, actually, I get probably about 50 messages a day across all of my platforms.
Wow.
So to say that I'm behind is an understatement. It takes me weeks to get back to people, but I get back to everyone. It takes a really long time for me to do it because it's an overwhelming amount of people. So.
Wow, that's great. So can you take us back a little bit of your history with your husband? Has it been 4 years? Because that's what I saw in a video, right? You've been in Mexico now 4 years. So all this happens 4 years ago in Utah, right?
Yes.
Can you take us back a little bit of that history? I know it might be a little touchy subject, right?
No, it's okay. I mean, it's your first podcast in English, and it's probably the first time that you have somebody cry on your podcast. So I'm glad I can be the first for everything. No, so back in 2016, I was at work. I had just started. I was probably about 2 months into a brand new job, and it was a great job. I was getting ready, or I just started my master's degree, and I got a phone call in the middle of the day from my husband's friend, and he said, "Hey, Fidel has been detained, and I needed to let you know because I don't know when he's going to be able to call you." And the only way that I can describe that to people is imagine all of the air getting sucked out of your universe all at once. That's the only way to describe that feeling. It's horrendous. And so, I waited, I left work obviously because I was in no state to stay at work, and the company was great. I walked right into my boss's office and I said, "Hey, my husband was just detained and, he's here undocumented, which means that he's probably going to get deported," because I knew it. I knew they're just quick like that in Utah. They immediately get immigration involved. And so I remember that I left work, but I didn't want to go and pick up my son from daycare because I didn't want to tell him what had happened. I was avoiding that part of it. And I waited for my husband to call, and then it was just a whirlwind of, every day on my lunch, I was talking to attorneys. I was doing consultations. I can't even tell you the amount of consultations I did with attorneys and everything like that. And it ended up being about a year total that we were fighting his case. And it came down to one judge, and she just said, no. She said, no, you're gone. And she deported him.
Wow.
And so once that happened, he got here into Mexico. And I think they dropped him off at the border. And so he had to travel down. I think 2 or 3 days was his travel time. And once he got here, 2 or 3 days after that is when we flew in to visit. And so we came and visited for 2 weeks. And 3 months later, we made the move down here, my son and I. So that's how it was. It was a nightmare.
Did you feel that the courts had pretty much shown no mercy when it came to this?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because it seems. No, go ahead.
I've had people make comments about my social media, and they've said, like the news and that they only want to talk to you because you're white. And, if people are listening, then to me, because of the color of my skin, that's their prerogative. But I honestly, what I tell people is that the United States didn't care. They didn't care that I was educated. They didn't care that I was white. They didn't care that we had a family. They didn't care that my husband had 20 plus character references from, everybody from my family up to our priest, because we're Catholic and things like that. They didn't care. They didn't care about any of that. The only thing that they saw was somebody who had come without documentation. That's all they saw. They didn't look at any other part of his character. So,
yeah. Well, I just got to bring this out, but one of the reasons that I started watching this, it's not because of the color of your skin or anything negative that people can actually say. It's just because you're actually showing and sharing your story, just like thousands of people are going through at this moment, and we're seeing it through your eyes. And not a lot of people have been doing that. Actually, you must be the first one to do this, which makes it unique. And that's probably why you feel so much responsibility to continue doing it, right? But in reality, you're actually just showing the world what life is when it comes to these situations, and it's great. And I thank you for that, to be honest.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Honestly, for me, I've talked to other women and other people in this situation. And for me, when we were going through it, we've talked about how incredibly helpful it would have been to have somebody that we could have just seen a couple videos of what their life was like, because once you make this decision to move, there's so many components and you feel so many feelings, and you're so used to living in the shadows that there's just nobody talking about it, but how incredibly helpful it is to just know that there's somebody out there that's winning, on the other side. Cause you feel like when it happens, you feel like it's the end of everything, And so for me, once I started this and I started to get stories, I of course wanted to show how beautiful Mexico was, because even for me, Mexico was nothing like I expected it to be. It was the complete opposite of everything that I was ever told in the States about Mexico. And but I wanted to, I wanted people to see it and know that, your life goes on and you can still have a beautiful life together with your family, even if the United States doesn't care about your family anymore. You can move on and still have a beautiful life. So,
yeah. Oh man. Well,
so you had never been before you made the move?
No, well, the 2 weeks that we came down to visit was the first time I'd even been out of the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God.
And I remember my favorite story is that the first night that we were here, so we came in on a plane and we came right to my mother-in-law's, who's definitely a rancho, right? And so I told my husband, I was like, I really need to shower. We had been on the plane forever. We had a layover, we had a delay. And he was like, all right, I'll go heat up the water. And I was like, that's interesting. And then I went in, and it was my mother-in-law's bathroom is set up with, it's a room, right?
Yeah.
It's just a room. but it opens to the outside, and it's got the toilet, and then it's got the drain in the middle of the floor. And so when I walked in, there were 3 buckets. 2 buckets were steaming and 1 was not steaming.
Yes.
And I was like, so this is interesting. And my husband was like, yeah, so this is how we shower down. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I did it, and I was like, actually, this saves water. So I didn't think it was bad, but it was so different that I was like, oh, okay. This is a new thing for me for sure. So yeah, my first night in Mexico, I showered. I did the bucket shower. So yeah.
That's crazy, because see, something like this is something that's deep Mexico right there.
Yeah.
You know, those people who have done that, they know that that's probably the best thing to do and the best memories that you can have, because this is what I have as memories, to be honest. Like the buckets, hurry up, because that thing is gonna get cold.
Yeah, you gotta be quick though.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing that sucks is I have a lot of hair, right? And so I'm like trying to get all the soap out of my hair before my water gets cold. So that's
right.
But yeah.
Now, as you were taking that shower, did you get like flashbacks of those commercials in America? You know, like the shower with Pantene Pro V, because God. It's like totally different.
Trying to get it all out. I'm like, this is not as pretty as Pantene Pro V commercials.
Yeah.
No, I honestly, I think my husband was I really think that my husband thought I was too bougie to live in Mexico, and that's why he insisted on us coming and visiting for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think that he was pleasantly surprised at how well we adapted to Mexico, you know. And for me, I told him, I was like, it doesn't matter, because you know, our son is completely in his element. He's happy. He's with you, you know, and because we had been through that for like a year, by the time that Diego was with Fidel for those 2 weeks, like I had seen my kid laugh with his whole body, which I hadn't seen the entire time that my husband was incarcerated, you know. And so that was a huge thing for me. And I was like, I'll shower out of a bucket every day if it means that if it means that that's how happy my child is, you know.
Oh, was that like the moment where you thought like, well, this isn't so bad? Yeah,
that was the moment that I was like, I'm making the right decision, because I pushed, and my husband was like, I don't know, you should, you know, visit, see what you feel like. And I'm like, I can totally do this.
So did you make
like,
the
just
decision?
Visit first.
Was it when the judge came down with the sentence that you made the decision right there, like, right, we're going?
Yeah, I did. I wasn't able to talk to him because we were in court, and they of course wouldn't let me talk to him. But the moment that she said, you know, you're not staying here, you're leaving, I remember just thinking, that's it, I'm going to Mexico. And then my next thought was, now I just have to convince my husband.
Wow. So how did your family what did your family thought about all this? I'm sure they were supportive and all that, but what were their concerns, or did they had any concerns?
They honestly, they didn't really have a whole lot of concerns. My little sister, of course, had a concern about our will, you know, in the event that something happened to my husband and I, because we had always said that if anything happened to us, our children would go to her, and she's up in the States. And so that was her biggest concern. She spent a lot of time hounding me about making sure that our wills were in order and things like that. But, you know, I think before, they had the same reservations that I did before I actually stepped foot in Mexico. And then once I was here and, you know, I was able to take pictures back, and I think once they were able to talk to Diego, I think my family's, any concerns that they had that was because of, you know, things that were fed to them by the media, I think all of those just kind of melted away. And for my family, it was, the distance is hard. It still is, you know, being so far away from us. But I think my family knows Fidel so well, my husband, that they were never worried that safety wise, we would, you know, be in any kind of danger, because they know that Fidel would never let anything happen to us. So
that's great. So how is it that when you went to Mexico, that you started feeling more comfortable as time passed by? How is it that how did that fade into your new life, besides just being with your husband and having your son laughing and all?
Honestly, You know, when I first moved here, I'll be honest, when I first moved here, my very first night actually physically here, I cried. I cried a lot because my house had nothing. I had no idea what I was walking into, because in my mind, when you rented a house, it had, you know, your fridge and like cabinets and all of these things that I was used to having, right? And the house that we rented, of course, everywhere in Mexico is different. That's my disclaimer, right? But the house that we rented was unfinished. And so when I got here, it was literally a bed and one TV that I had sent, and then my suitcases, and that was it. And so I remember crying because I had missed my family and everything. But I feel like where it started to transition was the point where I was like, listen, your life is not going to be what you expected it to be in the States. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. And so for me, I had to let it go. I had to let it go. I had to embrace. So I learned, you know, washing my clothes by hand. I learned how to do that. I got really good at it. I could wash my husband's work clothes. Didn't have to ask my sister-in-law for help. That was a step.
Yeah.
I could get the water out of the cisterna by myself. That was another step. You know, I took all these little steps and learned how to do things here, and told myself, you know, if everybody here can do it, so can I. There's no reason that I can't do it. And so that's what it was. It was letting go. And then it was slowly just getting, you know, one day at a time, one task at a time, getting good at it, and then getting more comfortable with it, you know, going out and ordering or going to the mercado and buying my own groceries and feeling comfortable talking to the vendors, you know, just all those little steps. So I feel like all of those played into it. And it took me about a month to get adjusted. It was, I think, a really hard first month, and then it kind of took off from there.
How did you find the people? Do you think they were like welcoming or kind of standoffish? No,
completely welcoming. I was surprised, actually. When I would go into town, I would get stared at a lot. I often told my sister that it was kind of like being a fish in a fishbowl. I was like, this is what it must be like to be a fish, right? In one of those clear bowls all the way around. I remember having a terrible fear that I was going to trip in public, because I was like, everybody's looking at me. If I trip, everybody's gonna see it, you know. Only had that happen once, super embarrassing. No, but other than getting stared at a lot in town, everybody was welcoming. You know, I went around and I met everybody in my mother-in-law's town. I met my neighbors. Everybody, you know, was inviting us over to eat, and so I got to go to their house, and I got to get to know them, and then they would come and check up on me. And really, it's I had never felt that sense of community in the States. And I grew up in a small town in Utah. And so I'd never felt a community like I do here.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
So how was your Spanish before meeting Fidel? Was it okay, or did you started learning as you started dating Fidel?
So I worked in a restaurant in downtown Salt Lake. And I was the expediter, which means that I worked with the kitchen staff. And a majority of the cooks were only Spanish speaking, and they were attractive. And so I started to learn Spanish so that I could flirt with them. This was prior to and of course, the first words that I learned in Spanish were swear words and bad words, not awesome words.
Typical, right?
Yeah, still the best words, or still the words that I can pronounce the best, right? But then when I got with Fidel, so I had a little bit of a base of Spanish, and then when Fidel and I met, it was definitely a drive to improve my Spanish more. And so I started to get into it, and a lot of it I learned conversationally with him, which a lot of people are always surprised about because his English is not great, right? He knows he can speak very little, but understands a little bit more. And everybody's always surprised. I don't even know how to describe it. I just know that we made it work. Like, I don't know. There's more to communication than just your words, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can explain it.
You know, when it comes to that, sometimes I think that when people approach other people with an accent or a heavy accent or whatever, they already approach them with a closed mind, you know, not with an open mind to actually try to understand. Because the more you spend time with them, the more things start getting clear. You know, you might use 3-4 words, but it tells you a whole sentence. and that's how I communicated when I first started, you know. I mean, that's all I had to do, you know. But now once I started learning, you know, oh my God, you can't stop me now. So, I'm even doing a podcast.
Yeah, yeah. See, you're doing a podcast,
right?
Yeah,
So you
it's
start. So did you started like using your Spanish a lot more now that you're going to mercados and all that?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. Yeah, it definitely took me out of my comfort zone because I felt like I used my Spanish a lot, really just with Fidel, right? Because we communicated mainly in Spanish. And then when I moved to Mexico, you know, it was different for me because it was something I hadn't experienced, but then I had to speak Spanish to everybody because there are no English speakers where I am at all. And so that definitely took me out of my shell and forced me to do it. Now, I'm not as comfortable speaking it on my social media just yet, because I've had, you know, negativity. Negativity always makes you shy away from learning a new language. So I haven't used it as much as I would like to on social media. I'm still a little timid when it comes to doing that, but yeah, I use it every day down here now, and not just with my husband, with vendors, all of it. So
nice. That's great. So so you know, like in small towns, they traditions, they pretty much follow it all the time, right? Because I saw a video that you were doing like posadas, you know, that you were going around. Now, when was the first time that you actually were introduced to something like that in the beginning when you first moved to Mexico?
Well, we moved here in December. And it was at the beginning of December. It was 3 days before Diego turned 7 years old. And so when we moved here, the posadas, what I think they start on essentially the 16th, right?
I believe so.
Well, you have like the Virgencita, yeah. And so the 12th, and then you get into all of that. So it was pretty immediate that we were introduced to it. And I mean, Diego loved it. I loved it. Of course, because you stand there and you get ponche and you get tamales, and they're, you know, using sparklers, and, you know, kids are getting goodie bags and they're throwing confetti, and it's a beautiful thing. You know, it was something that I'd never experienced before. And so the more I got to experience those traditions, the more I love them.
That's great. See, that's why small towns like that, they're probably the greatest, you know. It's like a whole different world, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
It feels
just
like
the
it when you go to the
tradition of it,
city.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because over here, Eric over here, he's from a small town too. So we experience all that as kids, and it's just great, to be honest. And to be, you know, to start in that particular area, not like Mexico City and all that. I mean, for you, that's what makes it more interesting, you know, because you actually are just sharing things that we brought over here to the States, and we just have memories of. You know, we can watch videos of family members, you know, recording and all that, but we're seeing it through your eyes and through your story, which makes it even better, you know, because it's helping, and it's also bringing us back to our childhood,
The
you
nostalgia.
know? Yeah. So it's just great, to be honest. So when it came to social media, how are you handling this? Because this is a lot of work. This is like,
it is a lot of work.
Because you also work from home, right? You have your degree and all that. That's that's really good for you, you know, because you were able to be in Mexico and continue working thanks to not social media, but the internet and all that. But
thanks to the internet.
how are you handling that? How does that work? How it takes us? Can you take us through a little bit of your day?
Yeah. So I essentially start my day like anybody else with lots of coffee. But I get up, I work. Yeah, typically, I know today I opted for water, but
there you go.
But the other day was tea, right? It's a variety of different things, but I usually I start work probably about 7:30 in the morning. I end about my job, my contracts. I typically will end about 5:30 at night. I always forget to take a lunch, but if I take a lunch, I record a TikTok. And so I'm not, what I found is that I'm not one of those people that can really record beforehand. You know, a lot of people will record beforehand and they'll have it set up like you can use Hootsuite and that to post your videos. I'm like, no, I have to give you how many videos for you guys to post throughout the week? Like I don't even know what I'm recording until right before I record it.
Oh yeah, that makes it even better.
Yeah, it's a very fly-by, like you're getting my real life when I record it. Yeah. It has been a little difficult. It's been difficult to keep up on people reaching out. It's been difficult to keep up on comments. YouTube has been a little bit harder because I feel like my audience wants longer videos, and those are just videos that, unless you want to watch me working at my computer in silence, you know, those are videos that are harder to record. But I do my best. It's been a little bit difficult, but because it is like having, you know, 3 full-time jobs. I have my kids, I have my actual full-time job, and then you know, social media is a full-time job. So it's like having 3 full-time jobs. I don't know how I'm doing it.
You're doing it.
Every day I'm like, it's going all right. Everything's fine.
Surviving.
Yeah. I just survive.
No, that's great. But see, when it comes to messages, the more people you start having as followers, you know, the more messages you're going to get, and also, you know, negative messages. And a lot of people don't understand that it takes a lot of time to respond and to interact with people, because this little message might take you so many messages back and forward that it's just time consuming, you know. And sometimes you just want to leave it alone, because Jesus Christ, if I started this, oh my God, I'm not gonna finish. So yeah, we've been in that situation, and it takes, oh my God, I used to spend 2 hours like just like responding to people, but then it got more and more. I'm like, oh my God. And it's like,
it's hard. You know, there's a couple different I think things for me that play into it. You know, the first one is I would never want to get a cookie cutter answer from anyone, and so I don't send cookie cutter answers.
Yes.
If you send me something, I'm going to take the time to, because you took your time to send it, I'm going to take the time to answer you genuinely. So that's hard. The second one is that these stories they take me back to where I was, you know, when everything was going on. That's not an easy place for me to sit. You know, 4 years has passed since all this went on, but I can't, as you saw, I can't even talk about it without, you know, crying. It's hard. I don't feel like that wound ever heals. It just stays an open wound, but you get further and further away from it, you know? And so it's hard. It's like reopening that wound. And I want to get completely invested in them. And then it takes a lot of energy, and then I have to stop because, you know, it's emotionally draining. And then the other part of it is that I have to go through each message, which means I have to read all of the ugly messages to get to the good messages. Know. And that's probably the hardest part, you know, because nobody wants to hear strangers' opinions on your life or your parents. You know?
And those are weird, right? Like you might get 30 positive ones, but that one negative one will get you. It
eats at you. It eats at you always. Yeah. They're rough. They're rough. It's hard to stay above them, and I try to, but I mean, you know, we've had death threats come through and that. So it's not, you know, for me, it's like I never know what I'm going to get. I never know if they're going to say, you know, I need to change my husband's clothing and fix his clothing, or if it's going to be, you know, if you come back to the States, we're going to murder you and your children. It's just they're just so out there, and they're so bad, and I just never know what I'm going to get. So those are
wow. That's crazy. You know, I was just thinking right now, like, you know, people share their stories with you because they see someone strong in you, you know, and I know that a lot of people that are going through these similar situations at this moment, they probably talk to people and all that, but having someone that is going through that and went through that and is still going through strongly, it makes them feel good about themselves. It makes them feel a little bit supported, you know, and that's what you bring to these people and to us. And for that's why I feel you are going to go even higher than this. So get ready, okay? Because I need an assistant or something. Because in reality, you know, your story is already touching TV, right? And networks, right? Telemundo, whatever, Univision, right? Now, it's gonna come to the moment where you are actually going into an American channel, you know, if it's a local channel or something, but your story is gonna get there. And once that gets there, you know, I think I don't want to say that the responsibility is gonna be bigger, but you're gonna reach out to a lot of people, and you're gonna have more support from other people to actually send a good message and make people feel that this is not the end of the world, you know, that you can continue with your life and persevere, you know, and that's the example that you are given to all of us. And for that, I think you're gonna live a great story in this life, especially that everything's recorded and also recorded here in Radio Mamon. but you know, this is gonna be great, and for that, I'm happy for you. You know, I know we just met and all that, but I'm happy to see that your kids are happy and they're living life like we should be living, to be honest. You know, yeah, because we wish, you know, sometimes I feel like, man, I should take my kids and just be over there, you know, and live over there. But it's like you just get enrolled in life, and time goes quick, you know, and you are making it count through you know, through your videos and everything. No, you're doing it, trust me, and it's gonna get better from there, you know. And I see a lot of good things happening when it comes to this.
See, look at him making me cry. See,
oh
like
my
you
God,
want me to cry in your podcast.
Oh my God, I should have put on like a background music.
Go edit it in later.
I know. I'm gonna put some.
Edit in some like really sad music, inspirational sounding music.
Right. I'm gonna add that music at the end.
I give you some pictures of my family you can put up. You know.
Right. No, but no, it's great, to be honest. I'm really glad that you're doing this, and I'm sure a lot of people, they would probably thank you, you know, if they were in front of you for just showing this, you know, just showing and sharing something that a lot of people need to see, you know. And it's sad to see and to say, but here in the States, yeah, they only show this picture of these situations, you know. And I wish they could have like a reality show where they actually can show the real life, you know.
And not 90 Day Fiance, by the way. No, that's not reality.
No, that's crazy. Hey, but now that I just mentioned that, you know, something like that could happen with you, you know. They can just follow you over there. Imagine that. I
don't know that I want a camera following me around. It might make it easier because then I am not actually having to film everything and edit it. No, I think that's one of the biggest things for me. You know, I want my kids to be able to look at all that we've done and know that, know that we took a terrible situation and we did the best that we could, you know, no matter where they are in life. That's what I always want. Yes. But I really, you know, there are a lot of people that reach out every day and just say thank you. And that makes it worth it. It makes every negative comment worth it. It makes every, you know, hour that I'm not with my kids, or, you know, that I'm spending, you know, answering emails. It makes it all worth it because I know that I'm helping people. And that's what I want. You know, I want to help people. I think that immigration is I think that people try to view it as a very black and white thing, you know, very just policies, and if you're not doing it this way, and that's not the case. It's a gray area. There are actual families involved in this. There are lots and lots of things in the immigration system that don't work correctly. They don't make sense. You know, and I think that what we're doing is we're showing people, you know, you look at Fidel and you think he's just a normal guy. He's a dad. That's what he is, you know. Yeah. I think it normalizes it, and it shows people, you know, that we're just human beings and we're families, and we shouldn't get torn apart because of right. You know, political issues. Yeah,
that's amazing. I mean, it's sad, to be honest. It's really sad. Now let me ask you this: has anyone reached out to you in Mexico, like TV networks or anything? Or I know you got family, not family, but people that also got deported, right? That you are in touch with, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm sure they're like trying to get connected, right? Now that you're actually opening this door, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, a lot of them have said, I mean, even I was referring to my friend Alexis, and I was like, hey, you should be on the podcast too. And she was like, no, I can't. I'm too nervous. Like, I don't know if I could do it. I think that from everybody that I've talked to, they're like, I love watching your story, but it's really, I don't know if I could be on the news yet. And I don't know if I could, have all these people see it. And I make sure that when I see somebody in this situation that's starting to post about them and their life, and that I always reach out and I just say, hey, just take it one day at a time. Just know that the bigger things get, the more negativity that'll come with it. And, you have to just kind of roll through it. So I try to be a support system that way. But yeah, I think it's so far what I've found out is that it's still hard for people to come out of the shadows. And so a big part of me feels like if you're not ready, that's okay. I'll do it for you.
Right.
Yes. That's great.
Yeah, because it's a heavy situation that people go through, right? And they must feel lonely sometimes, like they're going through it alone. So seeing somebody like you is like, oh, there's other people who've been through this, right? And it's pretty cool that, because a lot of us know people who've been through it, and then we just like, oh, I guess that's it. Like, we're never gonna see them. I hope they're all right. And some of us think like, or like we feel bad, like, oh, life must suck now for them, right? But you're showing that that's not the case.
Yeah, it doesn't suck. It's nice over here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier, especially being able to communicate around, especially with this Zoom or whatever it is. It makes you a lot closer to people now, which is so it's a great tool to use, and I think that that's what you're showing people, that you can actually use this to share your story and be in touch with people, right. And because in reality, man, life goes on, but you can make it a lot better, you don't have to dig that hole deeper, so that's great.
Like something that you can't get at a grocery store over there that you used to get in Utah?
Let's see. Oh, it took me a really long time to find sour cream.
Oh,
sour cream.
Sour cream. Yeah. Crema is not the same. I've had this argument with plenty of people. No. It is not the same.
No.
It is not sour. It is just cream, right? Yeah. It took me a really long time to find sour cream. So I was pretty happy when I found sour cream. It's the little things, right? It's like, those are things that you never think about. You never think about things. I'm like, I'll always have sour cream. No. Took me a long time to find sour cream.
Yeah, because they have everything pretty much, right? Like if you go like to the big city or whatever, they got Walmart and all this stuff.
Yeah. So. Yeah, Walmart. I mean, we go to Walmart at Sam's Club once a month because it's like an hour away from us. But yeah, once you go for me, going into the city feels so much like the States that, you go in. I mean, there's Starbucks, there's Walmart, there's Sam's Club, there's everything you can think of. There's pizza. By the way, Little Caesars pizza down here is way better than up in the States. I don't know why. It doesn't taste. It beats Domino's down
really?
Here. Crazy to me, right? But the Domino's is terrible, at least in our bigger city. The Little Caesars, hands down, is the best, which I never thought I'd say in my life. Wow. But yeah, so there's everything. The Rancho is very different. I feel like the small towns, the pueblos are very different. Once you get into the city, it really just feels like any other city. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, that's true, right? Because it's like you go back to that little town and it's like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Because
everybody's like, you should move to like Mexico City or a border town. And I'm like, no. First off, Mexico City is beautiful, but there are way too many people there for me. Oh, yeah. I'm not about that life. I want to live in a small town because I want to know everybody and I want to be, I want to be able to participate in the chismas and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's what you get in a small
town. Exactly, right. Yeah, you hear about that family over there and this and that. It's like, that's crazy how like if someone does something, it's like, oh yeah, that's part of the family, the Lopez or
yeah. See, what I've learned is that I never have to worry about my son getting in trouble, because if he does something something bad, I'm going to find out about it within an hour of him doing it. So that's how I always tell him, I'm like, just remember there are eyes everywhere. Everywhere. They're all going to tattle on you. Like,
that is true. Man, that's great. I mean, man, I miss those little towns. I gotta go back over there.
You know what? Like 15 years ago, I was over there in Mexico and I got sucker punched, right, at a party.
No.
And the next day, my mom or my dad called me who here in the US and like, what's going on? And I was like, what's up? And they're like, somebody told us you were hospitalized because you got beat up or something. I was like,
oh damn.
Like, no, I'm here with my grandma. Like, you want to talk to her?
Yeah, never said the chismes was always accurate,
Yeah.
but it's definitely embellished.
Wow.
But see, the news travels fast. I've been sitting, you know, with a couple of my sister-in-laws or with my comadres, and you know, somebody will come in and like another lady will come in and she'll dish out, you know, what our teenage boys are doing. So I'm like, yeah, it's quick. Nobody can hide in these small towns. Everybody knows everybody's business. So
wow, that's a great feeling, right? It's like at least you know you're around people that you know. It's like, oh
yeah,
the
they
guy that
care.
sells
I
it,
mean,
sells
you know,
that.
you're regardless of what you want to say, it, you know, if you're paying attention to other people and their kids and that, then you care enough to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
You know, I had some people that were like, oh, be really careful with your kids, you know, riding out at night on your streets. And I'm like, you don't understand. Everybody is watching everybody's kids. Like, none of us are not watching our kids, but
right.
It's not that we're not, or that we're watching just our kids. We're watching everybody's kids. You know, if anybody tried to take any of the kids while we were out there, all of us would pounce. So I think that people miss that it's that, you know, sense of community is real here.
Yeah, nobody's really a stranger, right?
Yeah, nobody's a stranger.
Everybody. It's like here, I've never met my neighbors. I've seen them when I take out the trash. It's like, hey, but I don't know their names.
Yeah, it's weird here. Like,
yeah, see, I never knew my neighbors. I lived in an apartment in Salt Lake for 6 years, never met my neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right next door. Never met them. Yeah.
Hey, but see, like people that say they think that it might be dangerous and all that, it's because they're probably living here, you know, or they just go and visit and all that. But when you grow up in a place like that, it's like you understand how that works, you know. But then you come here and then you are fed all this information. Oh, this is happening, this, that, and this and that. That, you know, you start thinking all this negative stuff, you know, about the town. And that's why a lot of people think like that, you know. I mean, that's all you get fed. That's the whole thing, you know. And it sucks, to be honest.
Well, and I always tell people, you know, there are bad things and bad people all over the world. No matter where you go in the world, you cannot escape them. I grew up in a very, very small town in Utah, and I saw some terrible things happen. Terrible things. Like, it's not specific to Mexico, even though that's all that you see. And I'm not discrediting anybody that's had a bad experience in Mexico, or, you know, anybody that's something bad has happened to. But you have to understand that I think what a lot of people don't understand, what I want them to understand, is that, you know, you're always, no matter where you are, you're always going to see bad things. It's just, you're not away from them, but it doesn't mean that is the entire community or the entire country or the, you know, the entire state. That doesn't define all of them. It just means that they're like everywhere else where bad things and bad people exist. You know, you just never escape them. So
you're right. I was gonna ask you, what about your family? How often do you go over there, and have they come to your town?
They haven't yet. I have been waiting for them. There were plans in the works. But then COVID happened. But we go up to the States about once a year.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great. That would be awesome to show.
Speaking of COVID, did the schools close, like, for your kid over there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, so my oldest is in an online private school that's based in the States. And so he doesn't go to school down here. He had there was a little bit of a bullying issue in the school that's here in the small town. It's a small town school. But you know, Mexico schools, what I noticed and what I've seen for my nieces and nephews is that, so Diego, you know, say he's in 4th grade, what they're learning in the schools here is 6th grade level, right? But they're all in 4th grade as well, but it's 6th grade level material. So they're advanced, but also Diego's Spanish was not up to par. So I was worried that he was going to fall even further behind.
Right.
So I kept him in that, but they did, once COVID hit, they did close all of our schools. And so now they're doing a mix. So some kids are doing it online. They have, they're sending parents packets. And then they're also, I mean, I have sister-in-laws in the rancho that don't have like a computer. And so they're doing it via WhatsApp with the teacher. Like Mexico's making sure that kids are all still going to school. But they've given them a ton of different options to do it. But our schools are still closed. Nobody's in school. So yeah.
That's great. Hey, you know, that would be awesome if your family does come to the town. Oh my God. That's gonna be, you should record a lot more.
I told my family, I'm like, if you come, just remember you're probably gonna eat at everybody's house.
Yes. Yeah, right. That would be something.
Everybody's gonna want you to come over.
That would be something out of this world for them, to be honest, you know, especially if you introduce them to the buckets, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know,
shower,
but
bucket shower.
Yeah, but no, that would be awesome for them to see, you know.
Yeah.
Especially if this is gonna be the first time, you know, they're gonna see your life. Oh my God.
And honestly, that's why we're trying to get our house built, because I mean, I have my current house tour on YouTube and it's small. But when we get our house built, I think that because I always think, you know, it was kind of a hard it was a little bit of a culture shock for me, but I was here for other reasons. And so I don't think that I felt the culture shock as much, because my brain was like, yeah, your family's together. Doesn't matter. Showering on a bucket, like, doesn't matter, you know? But I think for my family, at least Fidel has said, you know, if we have our own house, our house will be a little bit more like the houses in the States and that. And so it might be a little bit easier for your family to come here and experience everything, because it won't be such a big shock to them. And I was like, that's probably true. That's probably true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
No, I can only imagine that. I mean, damn. Yeah.
None of them have ever experienced it.
No.
So, I mean, they've seen it. They've seen, you know, videos that I've sent them and stuff, but none of them have experienced it. So.
Yeah, because they have this image too, like in you know, like in movies, how they show it. You know, it's like that's one of the images that a lot of people get, you know, through that, and then they think that it's actually like that. But you know,
even
it could
if
be
it's
similar,
not negative, you know, it's like it's not the same. Once you experience it, you realize like, oh, this is not what I thought.
No, it's not at all. Well, and two, for me, I've noticed everybody's houses are different. You know, you can experience something at one person's house and the way they do things, and then you go to another house that's 3 houses down and everything's different in their house, you know? So it's just, there's such a like drastic difference. And that's why I always tell everybody, nowhere in Mexico is the same. Everywhere's different.
Yeah.
Everywhere's different. So
yeah, because I remember
on mine is not how everybody lives, it's just how I live.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely, because I remember when I was in this small town, my grandparents, they built this house, you know, they flushable toilets or whatever, but we were renting I think it was close by, but it was really small, and we didn't have none of that. You know, you have to go to the hole and all that. But I remember I have this memory of I was sleeping by, the bed was close to a window, right? And I remember like hearing something through the window, right? And I'm like, what the hell? So I'm all scared and all that. And I look through the windows, a freaking couch. Like, what the hell?
Just chilling.
Like, huh? I'm like, damn.
That's amazing.
Right? I was like, oh, damn. But that's how it is, you know? And because we used to we also live in a house. It was right close to where they have all the horses and all that and cows. So there's a lot of mud and all that, right? And I remember my brother got bit by a scorpion or alacran. Yeah. And I remember that. It's like, oh my God, we used to put like towels underneath the doors because because the gap was so big. So animals would go through. I'm like, oh damn, this is the real life. You know?
I have a lot of spiders, but we don't have scorpions here, which is crazy to me. I've never seen a scorpion. I'm sure we have them, but I've never seen one.
And snakes.
So they're not super frequent. But spiders, we have a lot of spiders.
Right?
What about snakes? Have you encountered them?
No, we have rattlesnakes though. My father-in-law's been bitten in the hand while he's been in the campo. There's a dog. That was a little traumatizing to me too. I remember when I was down here for the 2 weeks, one of the dogs had been bitten in the face by a rattlesnake, and we found her hiding in the bathroom. And my mother-in-law, without skipping a beat, went in the house, like sterilized this really sharp, I can't remember what it was, kind of like a knife, and just went right up to her, held her, cut it open so that it would drain, and then just let her go. And I was mortified because I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna die. 3 days later, that dog was fine. Just happy as a lamb, perfectly fine. But her face was like huge I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is all right. That's how we do it.
You were like, oh, Rambo was right when he cut himself.
Yeah, my mother-in-law was like, it's fine, I got this. It's like without even skipping it. She didn't even blink. I was like, I would be panicking if that was one of my dogs. And she was like, it's gonna be okay. And she just clipped it open and let the dog go. And 3 days later, the dog was fine. And I was just like, wow, all right, cool.
Yeah, those are the things, right?
Different here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like if you get cut or something, you go and get some, I don't know, you go through a bush and you just grab some leaves.
How about masa? My child came home with masa wrapped around his finger.
Masa?
Masa on a burn.
Really?
My mother-in-law put masa on his burn and wrapped it up. So he came home with masa on his finger. I was like, what happened? He's like, I burned my finger. I was like, what is that? He's like, it's masa. My grandma put it on there. I was like, okay. Well,
yeah, that time I got sucker punched, my eye swelled up. My grandma put like a raw steak on my face. She said for the swelling. I was like, for real? She's like, yeah, for real.
Yep.
Right.
That's one I've heard of. Masa I've never heard of, but I mean,
wow,
they said it felt better. So
I wonder if it was because it's cold, right? Or
maybe, I don't know. Well, usually moss is warm. Well, at least every time that I've used it, it's been warm. Yeah, I don't know.
What makes it? Well, probably it distracts you from the pain because you got masa on your finger.
Yeah, because you're like, why is she putting masa on my finger?
So yeah, right. You're thinking over here like, what is this? So that's a good distraction. I didn't think about that.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's. I mean, she just uses whatever she can. So
yeah, because my daughter the other day, like she got hurt or something, right? I go, you want me to like just pinch you over here, baby? And I'm like, what? I go, yeah, that way the pain that you're feeling over there is not gonna, you're gonna think about this one, so you'll forget about it. So how about that?
So next time one of your kids burns their fingers, I'm gonna need you guys to just wrap a tortilla around it. Let me know how it works out.
Right?
Yeah.
Masa. Oh man.
Yep.
Man, all that stuff. Because I have a lot of memories when it comes to being a kid and making food and all that.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like, those cántaros, where you put the water and all that? They used to have that in Mexico.
Or like to filter it.
Yeah. No,
no, I haven't seen
it's
that.
like, I don't know how to describe that. It's just like a big old jar. And you used to
little
put water
hole at the bottom.
Yeah, I used to put water on it and it stayed cold. It's like, was it
was
cántaro or what was it?
Yeah. But yeah, because my aunt, she lived out on the farm. She used to go get water from her well. And then she used to pour it into this big like jug that had a little hole at the bottom, which would like filter it or something for rocks, I guess, and stuff. But yeah, I know.
No, that makes sense though. Huh.
What is that? Cántaro or? Yeah, like something like that, right? Yeah, because they even make jars like out of like pumpkin or calabazas, right? They dry it or something. And I don't know, man, there's a lot of things that I used to see.
I have to look into this. Now I'm gonna be on the hunt.
But I don't even know if they call it cántaros or not. But I don't know what they call it. That's what I thought. See, I gotta go back. I gotta go back to this because man, it's amazing just to bring this back, But see, this is what I'm saying. It's like you're bringing all these thoughts that we thought they were buried, but we just never talk about it. That's the whole thing. Because I know, right? Yeah, that's great. But I hope that your family does go to Mexico so you can just, because that would be a whole different perspective, you know. You can actually show people too, you know, oh, this is what it is, and then your family members will be, oh, we went to Mexico, Lord, check it out, you know, and it's gonna start growing from there too. But that's what I'm saying. It's like it's only a matter of time that you are gonna get connected to someone over here in the States, a network or something. Watch, you're gonna be sharing all these stories. It's just a matter of time, to be honest.
I don't know. I still so remember how we talked about the fangirling thing the other day? So I still have fangirl moments when I find out, like, have you guys heard of is it Murillo twins on YouTube?
Oh, it's on YouTube? No. What do they do? What
in California?
What's their channel
it's Brianna. One of their names is Brianna Murillo. Murillo? I don't know how to pronounce it. Okay. You were even on a billboard, right?
Really?
Very beautiful individuals. But she's pretty big. They're big on YouTube, big on basically all their social media. And she sent me a message on Instagram. And
really?
She was like, yeah, she sent me a message, and I honestly thought it was fake, because I was like, she has almost 1 million followers on Instagram. I'm like, there's no way. And then she told me, she's like, I made your bean recipe from YouTube and it was great. And I was like, no way. This is, and there's, what's the other? Kylie La Gringa, who's on YouTube. Yeah, I connected with her. So that was, but I saw these moments where I was like, you guys have seen my videos?
Well, that's what we felt when he told me that you had seen one of ours.
You guys have?
I know, that was like, what?
Right up to us. Yeah,
because we were just trying, like, the whole thing was for me to tell people, our listeners, like, hey, check it out, you know, like, check out, you know, because you know, it's all Spanish, our podcast, right? And so I just wanted them to see this, you know, so they can start following, because this is something that as soon as they see, they're like, oh, okay, I gotta keep watching this, and boom, and they subscribe, you know. So like I said,
Eric, it was funny because I was we were talking about it the other day, but so when I first saw that video, right, because it was short and everything, when I first saw it though, I pretty much understood all of it, but I wasn't 100% sure on one of the parts. And so before I commented to tell you guys hi, I made my husband watch it to make sure none of it was negative, because I was like, he can't really tell if they're being nice or if they're being mean. And my husband was like, no, they're being nice. And I was like, okay, hi guys.
Nah, see, I got my whole family like following you now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's cool. I mean, this is, like I said, it brings us back. That's all, you know, and it's a great message, and it's nothing but a positive message, and that's what makes it even better, you know. And you know, I really hope that your house gets complete and all that, and maybe one of these
there actually we're halfway.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Halfway to the house goals, which is insane. I thought it was going to take us another 4 years, and my followers, which I call familia, stepped in and said, no, let's watch your YouTube movie or your YouTube videos as much as possible. There are a bunch of people that are just leaving it on as they're, you know, working, and they're just turning it down, and my videos are playing, and I was like, you guys are incredible. So, but yeah, halfway there.
Is it nearby where you're at now, or?
Yeah, it'll be right here. I'm not going anywhere. I love this place too much.
Nice. That's great.
I just need more space for more animals. That's it. Right. So.
Yep. Do you have how many animals do you have?
So we have 2 horses, 8 borregos. I don't have any goats yet. I want a goat. I want a Sancho goat. Let me know if you guys know what that is. But I want a Sancho goat. I have 4 dogs and 4 hens and 1 rooster. And also bunnies. I have bunnies. But I can't remember how many bunnies we have. But we only get to have the gallo and the gallinas and the perros here at our house. All the rest of them have to be over at my mother-in-law's. So I'm eventually going to have a house where I can have them all in my yard.
So now I gotta, because I haven't been in Mexico I haven't lived in a small town for a long time, right? Now, confirm this. Does the gallo start singing at 5 a.m. or not?
So mine's broken. I don't know if you can hear him, but mine just does it whenever he wants.
He does,
Yeah. See?
Oh, look at that. Oh, perfect timing.
Good timing.
Talking
Good timing.
about him.
There used to be a lady that was 3 houses down, and she also had a rooster. And so what would happen was periodically throughout the day, one of the roosters would sing, and then they would just take turns screaming at each other, right? One would, and so they would do that for about 15 minutes periodically throughout the day, and then she moved. But yeah, they start pretty early, and then like mine, who's just kind of broken, will just do it whenever he feels like it.
Right? It's like he heard us.
Yeah.
He just started going.
You can hear him on a lot of my TikToks.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like mix is a mix. Oh my God.
Are you guys talking about me here?
Oh, look at that. Jesus. Oh my God, that's great. Hey, you know what? Thanks a lot for being with us. It's been great, and thank you for sharing. And I'm sure a lot of people are gonna start following you. Not just through us. I mean, I'm just in general, because in reality, what you're doing is just great, and this is gonna be written in history. And you're one of actually, you're the first one. I gotta say, you're probably the first one that is gonna open up the door to all these people to actually start making videos, and I'm sure they're already doing it.
There are people already making videos, which is great. The community is getting bigger, and I like it.
That's great. See, I hopefully all of you get connected and become something bigger, of a message. But all right, everybody, thank you. Thanks a lot. Sorry, guys, a los que no entendieron, le voy a poner subtítulos. So thanks a lot, Candice. Can you tell us where they can follow you, or?
Yeah, you guys, you can find me on YouTube at guerita70. You can also find me on Instagram at _guerita70 and on TikTok at guerita70 and Facebook, sorry, at guerita70. It's all guerita70. But my YouTube channel has all the links that you need. So
right. Yeah, you come out right away, right? And what's your slogan? You have you got to trademark that, right? What is?
Yeah. I do. It is good morning from Mexico. So when you listen to my stuff, it'll be good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from Mexico on every single video. I never stop. So those are important.
That's great. Yeah, because that's what I hear all the time, because all right, Candice, well, thanks a lot. Okay.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. And we hope for the best for you, okay, and your family.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.
Oh my God.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
All right. Have a good one. Okay. We'll talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye.